Since the start of 2024, I've looked at over 30 biotech companies, and out of those, I did 8 videos on the companies that I thought had the most potential. But for me, 3 of those stand out as the best companies of the 30 that I've researched. In this video, I'm going to be talking about those 3 and why I think they're the best, and stick around until the end because I'm going to be talking about some catalysts coming up and some catalysts that have already happened for some of the other stocks that I've been watching. And these catalysts could create a significant movement in the stock prices in the next few months. Okay, so let's dive into my 3 top stock picks for 2024. And the first thing I want to talk through is the opportunity for these companies. And the first in the list here is Ardelyx. And I think the opportunity for this company is between $2 and $3.5 billion. And this currently hinges on whether or not they will be included in a CMS bundle. If they are included in this bundle, I think they can get about $1 billion for Verona and about $1 billion for exposure. And if they don't have to go into the bundle, then I think they can get $2.5 billion for exposure. So with Verona, I think it's a bit more difficult because we've yet to see the first quarter of sales. But they have said for each % of the market that they can get around $1.1 billion. So based on the sales of other drugs in their market and the fact that they have greater efficiency and they have a much better delivery mechanism, I think Verona could see between $5 and $15 billion. Not only that, but I think they could potentially have a capacity to go much higher than that. But I think these numbers are more within the realistic range. And with Capricor, I put their values at around 600 million to about 3.2 billion. And one of the main reasons that these numbers are a bit lower is because I've had to take into account their partnership, which means they'll only be getting around 40% of those revenues. So here you can see I've got 1.5 billion there, up to $8 billion. So they've said that a small market share should be worth around $1.5 billion. And then I think they can go much higher than that. And also they're going to be able to get 100% of other indications. Again, as with Verona, I think that they could go even higher, but we are yet to see any sales. In fact, they haven't even got FDA approval just yet. So next, let's take a look at the market cap. So we can see here that Ardelyx is at $1.5 billion, Verona is at $2.4 billion, and Capricor here is only at $320 million. And that's after a recent surge in price. In fact, just a week ago, this was sat at under $200 million. So for the next slide, we're going to look at the opportunity divided by the market cap. And what this tells us is how much potential each company has for growth. And we can see here that even though Capricor had the lowest market opportunity, because of that really small market cap, they actually have the highest opportunity to expand. So the next thing that I want to take into account is the timeline. And the timeline that I've chosen for these stocks is a year into sales, because I think after a year of sales, you can really tell where the company is going to be going. And this also relates to the risk of the company. For example, Capricor doesn't have an approved product and it has no sales. Verona has an approved product but no sales. But Ardelyx not only has 2 approved indications, but it's also halfway through its first year of sales of exposure. So next, let's take a look at what I've called the multi-bag opportunity divided by the timeline. And that is the opportunity divided by the market cap and then divided by the timeline. And we can see here for that final statistic that it really levels out the playing field for these companies. So the multi-bag weighting that I have is just under an average of 4 for these companies. So the multi-bag weighting doesn't mean I think that the company could 4x, for example. It's just a weighting so that we can compare the companies. I actually think that each company could multi-bag higher over their lifetimes. Capricor, for example, I think could 10x from where it is if everything were to go right for the company. I just think it will take a little bit longer to get there and that the risks are higher compared to the other companies. So next, I want to take a look at the risks for each company. So the first in the list is Ardelyx, and I think the risks for this are incredibly low. Tenopur has been approved, the sales are going really well. The only thorn in the side at the moment is the CMS bundle, and if they are put into that CMS bundle, it will reduce the market opportunity for them. In fact, it will be roughly half the market opportunity as before. However, I do think that they are still underpriced for that smaller market opportunity. I just think that the fear of the unknown is keeping them suppressed at this moment. Verona, I think the risks are minimum. We haven't seen that first quarter sales, but from what the management have been saying, there's a high demand for the product. They already had over 100 prescribers prescribing at their last market call. Capricor, I do think that the risks are higher. They do have Elevidus, which is a strong competitor, and is really showing a high demand from the market. This is also reflected in Sarepta's high market cap. However, deramiocel does look to be a great drug with great phase 2 results. It also seems to have the backing of the FDA, as Capricor is already applying for the NDA. In fact, they are hoping for a PDUFA date as early as mid next year. So next I want to talk about the catalysts, and I did say I'm going to be talking about some catalysts for some other stocks as well. That's not part of this section, that will be at the end of the video. Do stick around for those because they're really quite interesting. But here we are with Ardelyx, and the big one I want to show first is the injunction decision. So this is the reason for the recent stock price movement. We have a great member of the Twitter community called Frank, and he gave us this piece of information. Now, this is some breaking news that an investment bank were talking to some lawyers, and the lawyers said that it's highly likely that this injunction will be granted. What this could mean is that the opportunity will rise from the 2 billion to the 3.5 billion that I mentioned earlier. Obviously, this is going to be very significant for this company, and not only that, but the lawyers said this could be awarded as early as late October. So you can see here in my catalyst that I've put this between late October and November, and this tilde here means that that's an approximate date. And then on top of that, we have the HR 5074 decision, and that could be coming up any day now. And if that bill is passed, then that will give Ardelyx a 2-year window to sell exposure outside of the bundle. Not to mention, we got the Q3 ER around the 29th of October. That is still estimated, but I will update this as soon as we get news from the company. And you can subscribe to the notifications by clicking on this button here. So please do come and check out TickerTaco. It's a great tool for keeping up to date with your biotech investments. So next in the list is Verona. So for Verona, we are really looking forward to the Q3 earnings. This is estimated to be around the 7th of November. And again, you can subscribe to the notifications by clicking here. And that will send you an email when that's been updated. Next, we can take a look at Capricor. And there's really a lot to look forward to here. We've got the commencement of the rolling BLA submission, hopefully the completion of the BLA submission by the end of the year. We've got the Q3 ER, which is expected on the 4th of November, as well as the Hope3 results coming out next year, and the PDUFA hopefully coming out next year as well. Okay, so I'm now looking at the dashboard of all of the charts that I showed before, and as you can probably tell from the thumbnail of this video, my top pick for biotech stocks of 2024 is Ardelyx, the second pick is Verona, and the third pick is Capricor. I think probably the reason for this is that I'm slightly more risk averse. Warren Buffett famously said that the first rule of investing is not to lose money. And the reason for this is that if you lose 50% of your money, you need to gain 100% of the money that you have left just to get back to your starting position. And Ardelyx, for me, with its approved indications and its good sales, eliminates most of the risks that we can expect with the biotech company. However, that doesn't mean that I don't think that the opportunities for Verona and Capricor are very high, because I really do. In fact, I own stocks in all 3 companies. Of course, this also means that you should be doing your own due diligence and not just listening to me. I've also done more in-depth videos on each one of these companies. I'll provide the links below, as well as links to their pages in TickerTaco. TickerTaco has a list of all the bull and bear points that I can think of for these companies. I hope you do take a time to look into these companies, because I think all 3 of them are a multi-bag opportunity. Ardelyx being the most secure, Verona being less secure but a higher payout, and Capricor being the least secure but with the highest payout. So as promised, I also have updates from some other companies that I have been following, the first of which is Heron Therapeutics. Again, I do have a more detailed video about this company if you do want to go and check that out. The link is in the description below. But this news came out to say that the vial access needle has been approved by the FDA. Now, this is one of their critical things, as well as their cross-link partnership, that they think is going to increase the sale of their Zenrelef drug. Up until now, the sales haven't been as hoped, but with the new management and the cross-link partnership and the vial access needle, special attention needs to be paid on the next quarter to see if sales start to improve. Secondly was the Investors' Day held by Aquestive Therapeutics. Now, although it could be argued that this wasn't groundbreaking new information, they were talking about their Adrenoverse platform, and it does look like they've made a lot of progress here. And not only that, but it looks like the market opportunity is much bigger than before. I think they are being very conservative with the numbers at this early stage, but it looks like they have found a way of delivering epinephrine to the skin, but it not going into the system. This means that they should be able to provide localized treatments for diseases like eczema. In fact, not just eczema, but they think they could apply this to all of the diseases listed here. And the one that they are going to target first is alopecia areata. And the reason that they are going to do that is because they think that that is going to be the largest market opportunity. This is great news for the company, and it means that they have a lot of opportunity for the years ahead. Thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.